Participation culture and affordability. This is challenge number 11. What we are looking at, what distilled out of the information for specifically this one, is that participation, as we know, is really critical to our industry, and it's really probably the benchmark thing that each of us in our organisations are really aiming to maintain and build. But what we've picked up here is not just the numbers, but also the nature of our participation. And the two issues that link to that, culture and affordability, were two things that seem to be emerging challenges going forward. Culture in terms of who are we tapping into to be part of our organisations. Research suggests that Indigenous and non-English speaking background individuals of our community are underrepresented in our sporting organisations. And as we all believe, our sporting culture in Australia is really an important glue that makes our communities work, makes our societies livable societies. So one of the things I think this challenge is identifying is how might we look at our recruitment for participation, our recruitment for those activities and jobs that are done within our clubs and so on, our organisations. How do we broaden out that to a broader group of people? Those that have barriers to their participation, that is English, or cultural barriers in terms of days of the week that they're not allowed to, their beliefs don't allow them to participate. How do we work with all of that? Because our multicultural community is really quite critical, and I think that's a really good opportunity for us to think about that going forward. In particular, we've got a new system coming with the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS. How might that money that's being identified to individuals enable us to link into people with disabilities into our sporting organisations and what we offer? Because that's not about employment money or readiness for employment. It's about allowing people with disabilities to engage in their community. What a better way than through sport, another opportunity. So that's about sort of the accessibility through thinking of culture, the broader basis of people. I think the issue then comes to affordability, and we all think about that in terms of how much does it cost to participate? What fees do we charge? What are the requirements for particular uniforms that cost? Those things are always in our horizons. And the previous iteration developed a program called Kids Sport, out of Sport and Recreation, in response to that ongoing affordability issue for children, so that children aged from 5 to 18 or families could apply for some funding to support their children's registration fees for the variety of clubs and organisations that were registered as kids sport providers. So that's an opportunity for organisations to think of how you might be part of that network as well. But how might affordability going forward be an issue? And affordability here also links to one of the other issues when we talk about commercialisation, because as sport becomes more commercial in its orientation, does that make sport more affordable for our grassroots, or does it in fact create more financial barriers? Okay, so that's this one.